Do you ever just fix something in a very, very low effort? You don't have to put in any effort, and you feel incredibly silly for it. So earlier today, I was trying to listen to a record. I have a record player over in the back of my room. It's a pretty good one. It's a Technics SLJ2. I mean, it's not like super high grade or anything, but my hearing's not that good, so I don't need the like ultra high end, and any of that shit would probably be handled more with a cartridge anyway, more than the record player itself. It helps somewhat, but anyway, the point here is that I was only getting audio out of one ear. And I was like, oh, is something wrong with my my whole sound system? Because that thing is plugged into like an audio switch sort of thing with a preamp. Well, I guess it is technically an amplifier in and of itself. So I switched over to the tape. I was getting stereo audio out of that. I was quite worried for a second. And then I go and I turn the record player around and I basically just touch one of the output wires just a little bit, and I get stereo sound back. I felt so goofy for a second there. Anyway, by the way, we are playing Quest 64 I believe it's, Recompiled. It's literally right up there. I could just look. It is, as you would expect, a recomp project of one of the very small numbers of RPGs for the Nintendo 64. And I'm sure that somebody in the back of their head is thinking, because I always forget about it whenever I discuss N64 RPGs. They'll be like, well, what about what about Paper Mario? There we go. I couldn't remember the name of the game. That's real good. And here's the thing. I don't like the original Paper Mario. I don't particularly like the later Paper Mario games either, but the first Paper Mario, I dislike strongly. That's all I will say on the matter. So whenever I'm like, oh yeah, Quest 64 is the best RPG on this console, first of all, I'm correct. This game is actually good. If you ignore the haters and the dipshit YouTube guys who lie in their videos and have relationship-related drama. Oh, I got killed by an ant. Wow. Of course, the big downside of this game is that accuracy is just kind of non-existent. So, yeah, let's not say that this is perfect. But anyway, putting all of that bullshit aside, I want to talk about my record player some more, just because, it's at least slightly more interesting bullshit, I suppose. Anything but the game we're playing, right? Always. Why am I like this? And that's a good question. And my answer is, I don't have an answer for you. So this record player, as I mentioned before, an SLJ2, not really a common type of record player. I think that most people, when it comes to record player models, they know like, if any of them, and I'm even talking about like smart people who are, smart in this subject anyway, parentheses, because in my opinion, not all of them are necessarily all that clever about the whole thing, but they basically just know, oh yeah, I've heard of an SL1200 and I've seen those shitty suitcase record players and stuff like that. But this one, a little bit more, oh, that's a lot of balls. I don't know how strong these dudes are in terms of ability to get hit by our current suite of elements, but they're quite sturdy if I recall correctly, so that's always good. And by always good, I mean, ugh. So yeah, this record player is a linear tracking model, which is something that I don't know if that's very much of a thing that average people know about anymore. That, like a usual record player, it has the arm on a pivot off to the side, and it changes angle as it goes. This one, however, has the record tone arm with the needle in it. Parentheses, the needle is attached to other things. Shut up. And it goes sideways, and it stays perpendicular to the track that it's on. and stays on the record at the same angle the whole time. There are some people who report that there are some, like, sound advantages to it, and others who say that it's a load of bunkum. Really, I don't care about any of that. I just think because it's cool, and it has a fairly small footprint. It takes up the same amount of area, basically, as a record jacket. Obviously, it's a lot taller than that, but a nice 12-inch square or so. A little bit more, maybe, but only a little bit. And I just like that. I mean, truth be told, listening to your music on vinyl, that's very much like fashion accessory levels at this point. So, I mean, you really should just get a machine that you think is cool. Some people will be like, oh, well, the sound quality benefits. You're full of shit. Oh, I think I'm gonna die here, but we're gonna try to... Oh, yeah, we were able to dodge that, so at least we got that going for us. Now, the big problem, of course, is can we actually land an attack with, like, any of our spells? And quite frequently, the answer is no. Oh, hey, we took out one of the ants. And that thing did less damage to us with the smoke puff there than it might have otherwise, possibly. Okay, so the flying enemies. Hitting these things is an absolute nightmare. If in very, very rare instances, you will theoretically be able to. And in this case, we are not. So we're just gonna roll over and die, I get. They're immune to the staff? I swear I've seen instances where it's like you can just barely hit them. I would certainly never recommend doing it on purpose, but the will-o-wisps have that particular issue too, where they sway back and forth like nuts, and they can be staffed, but sometimes they will move in the time between it takes you to, like, actually press the button down. Oh, okay. I gotcha. That's... huh. Then I really must have been mistaking them for another monster. But if it's the same basic model, that'll explain it. Anyway. Let's get our asses back to the forest here and probably die in the same fight over and over again a couple more times. I feel like our other stats, like, I feel like I'm having a worse time with this run than I am with the previous one. And by previous one, I don't mean a randomizer, because I'm pretty sure I did a randomizer between when I did the Firewind playthrough and when I did this. But, like, yeah, I mean, I have healing and stuff so I can recover between fights, but I feel like my ability to hurt things is just worse, probably because I don't have Windcutter. Well, I have Windcutter level 1. That reminds me, I saw a typo in my guide recently. I have to go fix that later. My guide from fucking months ago now. And I'm just now all of a sudden like, oh yeah, I screwed up. Gotta fix that. Well, sometimes you just don't notice at first because of a variety of reasons. I have an attention span that's not good. Almost to the... You are, in fact, almost to the funny number. It's true.
Almost to the funny number.
Oh, I missed the main thing I was actually trying to hit there. That would be exactly how it would go, wouldn't it? Now, let's try throwing some of these out. We're not going to do much damage to the big spider, but we're not even trying to, really. Not on that turn, that's for sure. And just past a different... Yeah. To say the blight, that's funny. Ah, yes, the meme that continues to confuse and confound people over and over, but I definitely think that there's a lot of people who just don't even try to understand. I'm about to... My commentary here has nothing to do with 6-7, because, to be honest with you, I know I've seen the explanations, and I'm like, I don't remember that, but I don't remember much of anything most of the time, so, you know, fat lot of good that does anybody for a conversational. For example, like, during this, sometimes I forget to finish saying my words before I start saying another one. Anywho, I saw this article recently that was written by some fucking boomer who was complaining about modern music, who was saying something about, like, oh, the lyrics in, it was very specifically in the song Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter, and it was something like, I don't even remember what he was complaining about, but it's like, dude, you can't actually look this stuff up. Do people just not know how to look shit up anymore? There are websites on the internet that will explain to you what phrases in lyrics mean, and perhaps you could at least try that. Instead of just being like, oh, well, I'm dumb, I don't understand it. Yes, we know, because you're old. It's amazing that you even managed to write this article considering how little you seem to understand technology. I'm sorry, I'm being a little bit mean again, but I think at this point that just sort of happens naturally. I'm angry all the time nowadays, and it sucks. Oh, yeah, don't forget about the spirit, you fool. Go get your point of damage that you can do to Zealous, because that's not the boss that we're going to nuke today, but I'm sure hoping that I can hurt his feelings quite a bit. God, I bet the damage race for that is actually gonna suck. Anyway, let's not think about that for now until we actually get to the boss. Oh, hey, look, it's Pumpkinhead and some of these fellas. Just heal for a turn here. Hey, good miss. Good thing for us to not get hit by. Because, honestly, it's not that much damage, but it's certainly more than the other thing these guys do. Get out of here, you goofball. Oh, good. We didn't have to immediately deal with Pumpkin Man here. We were too far away to get more than one hit. Oh, boo! Anyway, yeah, I think that probably is one of my weird associated concerns with AI-related things, is because I think people genuinely have just stopped having certain skills. And I'm not necessarily sure I can blame that entirely on the evil machine or anything, but it's a confluence of issues on some level anyway. Makes me very upset. Anyway. Here's this. This guy absolutely looks like he was somebody's favorite in the very early aughts. Or he would be if anybody knew anything about this game. Except for its supposed quality, which we've already heard what I have to say about that. Okay, let's get our life drain going here, just that way we can have a little bit better of a time with the damage race here. Good things never last, you know? I don't think we're getting this, but We're getting pretty close anyway. Yeah, that's a no. Miss. Nah, no miss. Damn. Oh, well. I could have just actually used a healing item. I know that some of you were thinking that, and you are correct. How much do I have in terms of, like, smaller stuff, actually? I've got several honey breads. Yeah, I could just do that. Anyway, look at this Dorcas using the healing spell in the inn. I swear there's a reason for it. Well, yeah, now I can tell that my damage output is not exactly what I want for it, but having our level 2 power staff and vampire touch, we do seem to do pretty good damage there. And if my buffs had lasted longer, although I'm saying that and I'm pretty sure they did basically last about as long as they could. Ooh, this fight. This is a bad one. Because I have not been diligent in raising my water level any. And these dudes are fire type, I believe. We're taking a bit of a risk here because these guys can purge our effects. Yeah, and for example, we would like to just not be in close range to this. Oh, thank goodness, we actually got rid of that one with our fireballs. Yeah, see what I mean? For anybody who's never seen that before. And I'm sure there's probably at least somebody here. Yes, the fireball, the magma ball spell rather, has a dispel effect, which is a pain in the ass. Especially when I'm in a situation like this where I am this melee oriented. Yeah, when the monster is pretty fast and can hit us very easily, you know, when it's one of these big woolly spiders, that becomes a bit of an issue. Because let me tell you, folks, your agility gain is not really very fast. And getting experience for it in battle is also kind of slow, especially if you're like me and you like to just get into a position where you are able to land a hit and then you just don't move for a while. Okay, at least make this dude turn. Oh, he is walking up to me. Well, fair enough. Oh, you're approaching me? I can't kick your ass if you're too far away. Yes, basically that's it. And I dislike moving from a position where I know I have a guaranteed hit. So a thing that I've at least tried to do a couple of times that some folks might have noticed, and if you didn't, that's fine, is I will very frequently attempt, if I'm in like super close range to an enemy that I have to spend multiple turns with. Like, I think I was doing this against the Trents in... Did I call him Trents? Sorry, Trents. I've just For some reason, I just constantly say Trent instead of Treant, and it's been a long-running thing with somebody. I know it's Treant. I blame the fact that there's been multiple things that have listed them as Trent in the past for a variety of reasons. Yeah, when I was fighting the Trevenants in the early forest, not even early forest, the earlier forest, rather, in Glencoe Forest, I was trying to, like, hit them in the back and basically just go around. Facing doesn't affect your accuracy whatsoever. So, from a perspective of can I hurt these guys more or not, that's pointless. But what it does do is it counts as distance, so it can get me some agility experience very, very slowly. Because, yeah, you have a very odd way of raising your stats in this game. Clearly, they were thinking of some very, like, off-the-beaten-path RPGs, really. And you might say, oh, that's a Final Fantasy II thing. How can something from a Final Fantasy game be weird? FF2 isn't really a whole lot of people's favorite, I'll tell you that for free. Yeah, this might actually hit. Well, accuracy checks notwithstanding. And also, the other possibility there... I mean, FF8 is a little bit weird. But the thing that I was thinking of, if I said 8, then I'm a complete buffoon. I was thinking of FF2, where you have that sort of thing where you raise stats basically by doing things that are relevant to the stat. Yes, he missed. That is huge. That even giving us one more turn of mileage here is pretty good. Oh, he missed twice. You're going down, Silver the Hedgehog. I'm gonna bury you under a mountain of bad RNG. God, Battle of the Misses here. Eesh. Fuck. Both of us were putting our Mike Tyson's Punch-Out speedrun blindfolds on. Okay. But yeah, stuff like that, and a lot of the old school roguelikes from back when they were games that had a vague resemblance to the game Rogue. So, like, NetHack is really the one that I... That's about just how I talk in general, to be honest with you. Shit. So NetHack is the one that I know, like, at all out of the actual roguelikes. Is you have a system in it that is referred to as exercising your stats, where if you do stuff that is, like, relevant to the stat, you'll slowly build up experience, basically experience for stat experience too on some levels. For example, a way to train strength would be to push boulders around or over encumber yourself and just walk. Oh, jeez. I'll tell you that for a fee. Yeah. There we go. That's like my Sonic Adventure 1 Eggman. Get a load of this! Oh, new Yu-Gi-Oh! Ban list soon? I don't know what the hell's going on in the metagame, so I'm gonna assume that they will do something a little bit sideways to weaken certain decks or something like that. That everybody will look over at it and it'll be like, oh, you're not killing this archetype at all. Gloria sending me a raid. Thank you very kindly. I appreciate it. Oh, a Hammer related, but like the horror company, MC Hammer. Oh, I'm sorry. This is a joke based on capitalizing the word hammer. But anyway, yeah, I have no idea what the hell is going on in Yu-Gi-Oh. I saw Dia Bellstar, and then I saw how the deck played, and I'm like, oh, as my brain switched off. Which, to be fair, is the mental position that it has remained in basically since I ever had to deal with playing against Eldritch. There was weeping and gnashing of teeth in that period. I'll tell you that for... God, I'm doing it again! Oh, that's fine. I don't mind if you do that. I don't mind if anybody does that. I just appreciate that there's somebody out there who's like, oh, perhaps somebody else should see this content, and... I start charging. Well, if I did that... See, I would say that I would never have financial troubles for the rest of my life, but have I ever legitimately told anyone here anything on this stream? I basically just... I emit syllables into the microphone. And I'm not really confident that any of them ever approximate words. Okay, I seem comparatively well-spoken in my videos, but that's a whole other... I spend a lot of time actually sharpening those scripts. That's why it's been 3 months since I've fucking done anything. Oh. Oh, she actually has a face. That's surprising. I've seen this enemy twice in my life. Ever. Previously, pardon me. This would be number 3. So, yeah, the Lamia is a very, very rare spawn in the forest here. Yes, she does, but I think that was a little bit more obvious. I just feel like the very few times I've seen her before, I didn't really get a look at the face texture, period. Or any sense of detailing on... Like, I knew she had stripes, and that's it. But yes, that is the only enemy that uses Windcutter level 3, which throws 6 hits at you. Which means that this enemy, if you can find them, later on, when we are a little bit sturdier, will be quite good for grinding durability if we are in such a position where I'm like, ah, yes, I need to level grind in Quest 64. Which isn't to denigrate the idea, really. It's just to say, that sounds rough, buddy, you know? Oh, yes, that is correct. So, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm probably gonna keep pushing fire all the way to 50 for max damage. Because, yeah, that does... Yes, sorry. That would be Windows sending me a thing saying, hey, turn on Windows backup. No. Why don't you back up into a position where you never use fucking AI, Microsoft, you fucking bastards. Anyway, yeah, we spent a loaf of bread there, so that way we could get a win. Anyway. Yeah, I'm pushing fire all the way to 50 because you do get some damage for that. And our next boss is Water Elemental, so the ability to just completely erase her in, like, 3 casts would be kind of cool. Although, yes, you are all kind of correct. And by all, I mean the exactly one of you who has advice for this game. Which is fair. I don't blame people for not having advice for this game or not playing it or any of those. I should probably be raising water so that way I can get better healing magic. Well, just better effect on my healing magic. Oh, you guys are rude. And also to raise the damage on my water pillar for the comparatively... So I don't recall for sure, but I think there's actually fewest... The fewest enemies in the game, element-wise, are fire, I think. It definitely seems like it's the element that I most frequently don't have to worry about resists. Okay, so I guess I can kind of stop at 48. At least for now. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I was only reading half of the message, apparently. Good job, me. So, yeah, stop that at 50. And then just switch to... Because, obviously, it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference. Now that we have the Wind Jade, there's a thing we can go do in Dondarin. Real quick. So let's use our yellow wings. I will go pick up another set of them, even though the odds of us needing to actually come back here are kind of 0. But I'll do it anyway. Yes, a big thing that makes this run actually feel really like shit. And I think in some ways, this actually does probably feel a little bit worse than a Fire Wind challenge. Which is kind of weird because it's like, oh yeah, you have the healing spell. That's one of the most important assets you could possibly have in this game. Sure. But I don't get my damage boost. You know, my damage is lower on either of my attacking elements. Oh, can I not get it from here? I thought I could. I guess I gotta get it from the library. Anyway. Yeah, so, like, Fire Wind is kind of awful because you die a lot, and you have to spend a lot of time just kind of getting your ass kicked in order to get anywhere. But Fire Water, you just do worse in fights because you can't do as much damage to things. Oh, was I, like... trying to push into the wrong... Oh, okay, yeah. See, it's a very small area. It's actually kind of tough to do, I think. Okay, it's not that bad. You just have to sort of, like, press to the barrels as you push along there. It's just slightly jankier than you'd like it to be, we'll say. Oh, I can't use those indoors. Whoops. Yeah, basically, combat sucks more in this playthrough than it did in the Windfire playthrough. But at least I have healing, so... You know, I guess you can decide what the trade-off you want is. Ah, yes. Somebody in the composer's booth really loves their chord organ. Yeah, and is that fewer than the other elements, or does it just feel like it? Because To be fair, I think they're mostly concentrated at the end. Excuse me. So you kind of get ahead a little bit easily there, at least for a minute. Anyway, I'm going to save for a second. I'll be right back, everybody. So wait, is that 67 plus 8? So that's 75 total? With 19 fire monsters, that would actually put it kind of high. Okay, so 75, subtract 2 because they're null elemental. So they don't really count. Oh, oops, wrong door. That's 19 out of 73 is actually above the average, the expected average. So it certainly can't be the least, which is ultimately a bit of a shock because it feels like you don't fight almost any of them until you get to like the very end of the game. I'm just here for... Careful how you word that, Delia. I'm just here for the item, that's all. And to dry up the path. Okay, let me pull up the list. Then I'm going to have to go grab the maps again, because Blue Cave is... Do you like looking at the same texture a lot? I sure hope so. Well, we'll have enough spirits in this little piece of the town to get our max level on fire at bare minimum. There's one over around here. And the last one is at the Blue Cave portal, I think. Assuming that I'm recalling correctly. Don't go in there just yet. There it is. Okay. Yeah, now we start feeding into water. And I am going to go find where I put those links real quick. To wooden leg 10 here. Wooden leg, wooden leg. Sorry. Blue Cave map. Yeah, let me just put my fucking training wheels back on, you know. Ah, yeah, the scorpions are here. Now, usually I actually kind of like the scorpions, but when we're talking about the monster in this game, that's a bit less of a thing that I'm a big fan of, so... Again, at bare minimum, we are just turning these things into paste with this. So, credit where it's due, I suppose. This might actually not suck if we're demolishing them that fast. Thankfully, I think almost everything in Blue Cave is water elemental, so... we'll be able to give them a pretty good bad time here. You heard what I said. And if you didn't... oh. Oh, right, yeah, you fight those guys. Oh, Scarecrow can show up? I did not even realize that. At bare minimum, none of those are fire type, though, so I gotta give credit there. That'll ease things slightly for me. Oh, did it? God dang it. Well, that's weird, because it's not like I even... switched to a different source or anything when I got up. So I don't know what happened there. Maybe Streamlabs blew up or something. And really, I do kind of need to find a better chat box source anyway, probably, but... I haven't hashed that out just yet. So, yeah, I guess... I'll just have to try to remember to read the responses in chat until such time as this corrects itself, because I don't actually know an easy way to fix that offhand. I did try making it visible then invisible afterwards, but I don't think that actually works. I don't think that is a quick fix for it. Yeah, so for some reason it's just not showing the messages, and I don't... yeah, that's weird. That's all I can say is that's weird. Also, is that portal outwards to... because it keeps getting tagged as being out to Glencoe Forest, and it definitely looks like it. Is that actually a usable path at any point? I've never tried. I mean, I tried there, but it didn't do anything. Do I have to wait until I get the water orb or something in order to prevent you backtracking too much early? Okay, I was curious about that. I don't know what's up with any other stream issues, by the way. Irene saying that there were some hiccups where it just stops for a second. I don't know. I don't have any dropped frames. Well, you say, you kind of sarcastically indicate that it's not a very useful shortcut, but I mean, it's something. If you do that after you, because by the time you get the water jewel, you will at least be strong enough to take that place on decently. I think all the monsters on the Isle of Skye are stronger than the shit that you find there. So, I mean, it's not without its uses if you decide to wait to do that until later in the game. It gets you there quickly, because it is also rather close to a warp, so I think it's faster than warping to Dondoran and taking the walk, which would otherwise be the closest way to get there. It's just that that's not really going to be a thing that most people do, I don't think. Oh, hey, we got Ice Wall. Oh, we also got Ice Knife, so at least we can do water damage from a range. A thing that's not really great. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And sure, there isn't really a good way to negotiate with the fact that if you die there, it's a long walk. But I guess just run from every fight, basically, until you pick up a couple of the spirits and can take on some of the enemies a little better, but even then, that's not necessarily fully recommended. Flip the map again. Is there a purpose to going this way? I don't completely know. Yeah, but you absolutely do want the 6 levels that you can get there for free. The free 6 spirits. Because, yeah, especially early on, buff up your magic as much as you can. Yeah, okay, there was no reason to do that, but I wasn't completely sure. But I know that the next fork in the road, we want to just go left. And see, I think it's an interesting take with the Mimic in this game. It's more of like a sort of a slug that's got a chest as a snail shell. You might be saying that's not exactly how slugs and snails are, and you're correct, but never mind. I have to just immediately say that I think it's certainly a more interesting idea than just having it just be like, you know, teeth and a weird tongue. It's slightly more, it's more unique looking. I have to give it credit for that. Not that I'm necessarily saying the other design is bad. It's just, hey, nice to see something different once in a while. Is that this game was legitimately trying to at least tackle well-worn ideas from a different sort of perspective. right? Because it's easy to go like, oh yeah, you get these 4 elemental artifacts, you know, whatever. And oh, it's another medieval British fantasy thing. But it is also very explicitly based on Scots and Irish mythology and creatures very heavily. Not that they don't exist in a lot of the other RPGs, but this definitely leans on it very hard. And I think that's cool. And seeing all kind of other stuff like, you know, just... It's nice. It does have its own identity. Oh. I wasn't close enough to... I should have just gone with fireballs. Oops. Instead of risking it any. 18 doesn't give us anything, right? Yeah, I think the wind side of the water part of our spell grid thing is our escape spells. Our exit, our return. The fun stuff. And by the fun stuff, I mean, well, the stuff that's really, really useful. Yeah, there you go. Teleportation spells, because... I mean, there's a runaway spell that's also on that side, too. It's just that it branches off, right? Assuming that I'm not completely misremembering, which I very well might be. An escape spell that shares certain parts of the code with extinction, if I recall correctly. Meaning that under certain circumstances, I'm pretty sure you can use that spell and gain items. Right, because more or less the spells are kind of arranged in a certain way where it makes sense-ish with the effects, that there's sort of combinations. Not always, like but for example, you can go, here's 2 fires and then fire bomb because it's kind of like rock, or fire pillar because it's kind of like water pillar. Okay. I couldn't remember the exact there, but I was pretty sure that it was a thing like, hey, escape can actually get you items under, like, weird circumstances. It's just that it's significantly weirder than I thought. Right. That's the main thing that I remember, is that an enemy that gets extinctioned drops items, but it doesn't give you experience. Which, at least for a large part of the game, is kind of the more important thing. I don't remember what the accuracy on extinction is anyway, so I'm going to assume that under most circumstances, it is kind of a waste of resources. Because it probably has a success chance of like 30% at best. Just taking a bit of a guess based on, well, experience with other games that have instant kill spells. 60, that sounds good, and then you remember how accuracy works in this game. And the determinations, and the fact that agility is so slow to grow. And suddenly, that's exactly the sort of rate that you would expect out of a kill spell, I guess. If I recall correctly, well, obviously 30% is the base accuracy for Okos in Pokemon. If I recall correctly, 30% is the kill rate for almost all of the instant death spells in Jade Cocoon 2. I don't actually remember jack or shit about the first game. I have a copy of it, but I only have the disc. I should play that sometime. I originally was... Eons ago, I did stream through Jade Cocoon 2, and then since I was doing it on an emulator because I wanted access to the patch that fixes things, since I upgraded PCSX2 at some point, I made the absolute bonehead move of forgetting to transfer over my memory card for it. So, yeah, I have lost that save file, but perhaps sometime I will go back and actually just play through the game on my own time, so that way I can stream the post-game content. But I'd have to stream through the... I'd have to play through the regular game in order to have everything on the go to actually do that. And I don't usually like the idea of restreaming games unless there's some sort of, like, challenge run that I can attach to it. Around the wheel. Seems like you're always here when I watch you questing. Yeah, you spend a long amount of time here. And yes, my chat window on the stream is broken. So, as was discussed earlier, you're not, like, failing to see something. Do not worry. Do not adjust your set. Anyway, yeah, this place is a bit long, and as you probably can tell, these textures do not make it easy for you to always tell where you are. Yeah, it's just technology being a pain. I don't know. Streamlabs taking a nap. Maybe they're punishing me from switching away from their bot. I don't think they actually know that, so... What's our experience looking like? 91%. So, I guess I should probably look into a different chat display at some point. I wonder if I can do something like that through the bot. Yeah, I mean, they put something in here to try to make this a little less confusing. Because you are definitely... With Chat Designer, I'll have to look into that. Or I guess, I don't know, throw a link somewhere. You know, Discord server or something. Actually, I don't think you joined the Discord server. Yeah, this is one of the very few dungeons where you have real branching pathways. I'll just put that up there. Yeah. So now there's, technically now I have my own place to be, to do whatever I usually do in other places. Since I know that you have a thing in your channel where it also gets the notifications from Alan's Discord, and I'm pretty sure you're doing it through his Discord, I want to point out that unfortunately, because my server is technically set to, it's non-discoverable, basically. Because, you know, then my theory is I'll get fewer spam bots. And, you know, who likes dealing with spam bots, right? I'd rather just let people come in here through links on my stream. So... Yes, it's pretty easy to set up. I still have a tab with that open, so I can just drop a link very easily. Because for some reason, I couldn't tell you for the life of me why I didn't just, like, close the tab after I was done with it, but maybe I was thinking I had more shit to do. Perhaps I just always assumed that anyway. So, yeah, I mean, granted, there is more stuff I need to do with the stream. I need to put more emotes and stuff together, because when I took that week off, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do all of this, and then, guess what happened? I got completely distracted by a variety of stuff, and, hey, I built 2 Gundam models, and I 100% achievemented Ball Pit, so I mean, yeah, Mirai is not a hard bot to set up, which is great, because I was struggling a little bit with Carlbot in order to try to automate certain roles. And I was struggling a little bit with that, which whenever I struggle with tech stuff, I feel like a complete fucking idiot, because when I was young, I really threw myself into technology, and like my family always tells stories about how well I seem to know computers, but I don't like to dwell too much on the past. But really, there was a lot of I used to be a computer science major, and then I had some pretty serious issues, and yeah, I changed major halfway through university, and instead I majored in philosophy, which, as we all know, that is a significantly more useful degree, and I can't even continue this bit with a straight face. I kind of wonder if that was, like, the point when I started really just kind of falling apart. Yeah, it definitely did. Anyway, so rewinding a bit to a thing that you were talking about earlier, Irene, that this is one of the very few dungeons where you have any sort of branching paths whatsoever. Saying you slightly have branching paths in Kul Hazard, but they just lead to Dindom Dries, which you can't enter yet. That is correct. There's a pretty big warp between those 2 zones, which is interesting, and I have never needed to use that. But maybe if I played rando with different gating and stuff, it might come up. But yeah, pretty much most dungeons in this game are basically just going this straight line. In fact, Baragoon Tunnel is pretty severe about that. And yet I will still get fucking lost going in a straight line, because I cannot, for the life of me, process a goddamn thing about how that place looks. And sometimes I'll just get turned around from leaving a fight, and it'll just be like, oh, well, there's a greater proportion of dungeons that are straight lines that you can still get completely lost in this game than there are mazes in Secret of Evermore. And God, I love Secret of Evermore, but holy shit, like, every part of that game is just like, hey, our idea for a dungeon here, just have a maze. Game still fucking rules, but, like, man, it is a little bit exhausting in that particular way. I mean, also, there is one part about Secret of Evermore that does kind of suck, and that is that Jeremy Soule did the music. There have been some pretty heavy accusations about Jeremy Soule, so I'm going to avoid going there for the rest of the stream. But yeah, so it's not like I'm casting aspersions on the man's talent or anything. He was like 19 or something when he composed for Secret of Evermore, if I recall. But even so, it's a little bit like, ooh, don't like thinking about that anymore. I'm sure that quite a lot of you have artists that you like quite a bit, music artists. But it's also like, oh, you hear a song come on by them and it's like, I've heard all these horrible stories and it kind of ruins the experience. Parentheses, I enjoy Rammstein, Oingo Boingo, and Michael Jackson, so... those are, I was going to say, those are all folks who have different, we all kind of know what MJ is accused of. I'm not saying that all the rest of them are, but there's definitely some bad shit that's gone on with some of them in recent years that they've been accused of. So, yeah, anyway. Let's put that one away for now, because I keep seeming to... Rammstein, yeah, God, when's the last time I saw Young Frankenstein? It's been years. I also can't really speak on Lagoon. I have never played that game. Okay, yeah, so we've got our exit spell here. And I could have sworn we learned something else much sooner than that, but hey. Yeah, I think that for some people, at bare minimum, bringing that up is going to lead to an element of confusion because there's also a game called Bahamut Lagoon, and so you'd probably get at least a couple of people who'd be like, oh, do you mean... And then you have to be like, no, actually. And that's always a pain in the butt. Hey, you know what? Maybe I should use this more for big AoEs. Yeah, Hot Steam is good damage. I gotta remember that it does actually hurt quite a bit. In addition to, now that it's level 2, it has a zone that's slightly bigger than... Well... It's slightly bigger than a lot of things, actually, but... digress. Yeah, level 2, you can actually hit things with it. Including sometimes stuff that's behind you. Oh yeah, back up a little bit. See, I don't even have to face this guy to eliminate him. Yep. Hey, you're gonna tell me to get over here? Well... Are you sure about that? You still have time to retract that request. Meanwhile, this is more of an arrangement where you want to bring out the miss balls. Yeah, we'll have to press the button fewer times to refill. Which, parentheses for healing too. For people on the VOD who are like, I can't see the chat, you idiot. Yeah, you're right. Anyway. Yeah, healing level 2 will just make our lives significantly easier in general. Because it's just better healing. Oh man, I'm pretty sure that by the time this fight ends, I'm going to be back where I start ended the last fight. Chat window, you popped it on in stream. Made that a browser source itself. Yeah, I mean, I could probably just throw up a quick window capture of the chat window. Then, I don't know, you all accidentally get to see possibly something else on one of my other windows. Which makes it sound worse than it actually is. I'm just saying that I hate sharing my activity, period. But anyway. Oh, and then you'd get to see all the piracy stuff in my bookmarks, so that's... Nobody cares enough to get me in trouble for that. But it is still like, I don't know if I necessarily want that revealed. On the other hand, maybe it would help teach the children a little bit how to actually obtain things nowadays. Because that is still a thing that the young fellas are not good at, and who was expecting that to change anytime soon. But I don't know, I feel like this weird, profound sense of embarrassment that I cannot describe very easily when you get people going on to like the various cartoon watching websites or anime watching or any of that shit. I mean, I don't like streaming services either, periods, but it's not... My opinion on those is not going to be, you know... I'm not going to say, oh, I feel a profound sense of embarrassment when I see a younger person revealing that they use Spotify... Well, actually, Spotify is a bad example in that case, because... Yes, actually, I do feel a profound sense of embarrassment when somebody is showing me that they use Spotify. But for other reasons! Because Daniel Ek is an evil fuck. But I digress. Oh. Well, I wasn't close enough there. That's a pity. But you set... Shit. You set all that aside. At least we get some defense experience. At least we get some defense experience. God damn! This game's RNG is... Well, it makes every run feel like a speed run, I'll tell you that for a lack of experience with speed runs. Anyway, setting all that aside. But, I mean, like all of those... Oh, hey, we got escape. All those websites where you can go on to, like, watch cartoons and stuff, that's generally not really the safest sort of thing. I mean, yes, if you have ad blockers, you'll be in better shape. But dear God, those things are an easy way to get shitloads of malware on your computer if you're not careful. And in fact, sometimes even if you are, because hey, we live in a world where sometimes you get ads that pierce through your ad blocker. You know, which is really just a thing that continues to justify the use of the ad blocker in a lot of cases, because not all of that stuff is necessarily healthy for your computer. It's like when if some dude came up to you and just ripped your fucking mask off while you were out in public, you know, at a grocery store or something. Y'all are still masking, right? Like, it's not just me, is it? I sure hope not. And I know that people are like, oh, well, I have the vaccine. Put a fucking mask on anyway. Because you don't know who doesn't. And having the vaccine doesn't prevent you from being a carrier. You partially mask. Well, I suppose that's better than nothing. That, you know, I see a bunch of people out there just like, you know, absolutely no mask. And it befuddles me. No mask ever. You know, just like, what are we doing? This fucking plague never went away. Anyway. I should stop reading the news. I don't think that's healthy for me. On the other hand, I did find out recently that because of certain goings-on, even Joe Rogan is turning on Donald Trump now, which is like, man, when you lose horse-paced Joe, right? When you lose the fucking ivermectin salesman, I cannot imagine fucking up that badly, which... Anyway, that's enough politics, at least for now. But there's our healing level 2, by the way. It doesn't even have a different animation, but it does give you bigger numbers. At least I don't think the animation is different. It might be, like, subtly different in a way that I am not good at identifying. Oh, that was almost a one-button clear, or one-cast clear. Yeah, you would know better than I would with regard to if the animation is the same. It's just... If it's not, it looks very close. Which is perhaps understandable. Yeah, see, and of course, those can't kill anything. I just use the stick. I wanted a little bit more HP experience anyway, so... Yeah, we're going for the last chest here. I don't even remember what's in the chest. It might not be important. The map is saying healing potion, which, I mean, yeah, healing potion is pretty good, so... Yeah, let's go for some fireballs here. Anyway. Let's pick this thing up. It is... Yeah, this is a slightly longer path to get to it, but hey. And it's just sort of how it goes. This map isn't the exact shape... Oh. Must be on the outside. As I was saying, this map isn't the exact shape, so... Oh, neat. Well, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. I am always grateful for our... like, everything. I'm grateful for our friendship and the fact that you, you get on with the stuff that I do. You're a good guy, and... Yeah, Ronnie, did I ever tell you that you were the first person whose LPs I ever watched? Granted, I very much got on the train for that sort of medium very, very late into their existence. When I first saw any of your content, so it was for a very... yes, unsurprisingly. For a very brief period of time, there was a link to a video of one of your... one of your episodes of Lemmings linked in a TV tropes page for Lemmings. So that's how I caught hold of you. This was on the most recent account, by the way, not like an old one. Yeah, I suppose it's like not necessarily hugely surprising that it didn't cause a... This might sound like rude. I don't mean it to, but like the thing is that Lemmings, of course, is still kind of in the it's a thing people know, obviously, but it's primarily still the area of just enthusiasts, right? So as much as you'd think, oh yeah, somebody linked this on TV Tropes, it must get like 1.5 trillion hits as a consequence. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be the inroad. But yes, that is how I found you, and I watched it and I was like, eh, that's interesting. I wasn't very into, just as a rule, like, footage of other people playing video games, at least for a while. And yet now I stream, what the hell. But I came back to you by, like, sheer chance right as you started doing Oh No More Lemmings. And I was like, this guy's actually kind of cool. You know. I ended up following Brian a little while afterward. I kept seeing Brian in the comments, like, almost immediately, and I was like, who is this guy? Every time. Until eventually I got recommended one of his videos, and I followed Brian at basically the exact start of when he was doing that FF1 hack, if you remember that. Yes, the level 2 buffs have a different animation from the level 1, Irene. That is... I've known that forever. That's quite visible that they have like a second ring of sorts. Yes, the hard type hack. At least they very much look like they have a second ring. Surely I've got some sort of... No, actually, the only other level 1 buff I have is Power Staff level 1, so let's show it off. It was... Well, I mean, inherently it is a rebalance by virtue of being a hard type, but yeah, it was a hard type hack made by Zzonk Miles. There were several versions after the version that he played, and I started on playing one of them, and then I ended up not continuing with it because I just took a big break and then was like, oh yeah, well, hell with it, I may as well start something else. Hard type making a hard RPG, I talked about this probably during Phantasy Star 2. It's not really an easy thing to pull off to make it, like, good all the time, because generally speaking, a difficult RPG can be overcome by just level grinding, right? So, you know, you jack up the level of the enemies, and it's just like, well, I guess I'll just go fight easier shit until I'm ready to deal with this. So, yeah, which is a thing that I definitely said during Phantasy Star 2, because I played the version of that was on the Genesis Mini, because I was expecting it to be, like, rebalanced. A little bit. Because otherwise, that game is quite difficult to get a foothold in. I played Phantasy Star 1 in its original version, and from what I understand, Phantasy Star 2 in its original version is even rougher in that regard. I've probably said this before. I'm sure that I have, in fact, but Phantasy Star 1 does suffer from the issue where, like, the very earliest encounters are so, like, far apart in terms of their difficulty, at least when you start the game, that you can get into a fight and it'll just wipe your ass, even if you're at full, and it'll be like, well, why'd I bother playing this? So, yeah, rough game, to put it nicely. Anyway, can I get the spirit that's behind the house or in that general area the first time I'm here? I forget. But yeah, hopefully people find good stuff in your people you think that you should watch channel. Really working hard to find chill channels with fun personality. Yeah, that's a little bit tough. I mean, especially with regard to finding people who are a bit relaxed. Okay, yeah, I believe I got it. Is that the only one that's out here in the capstone here? Or am I mistaken? There might be one in the house. I still have the list. I can just go look at it. Yeah. Okay. Alright, hey, you're a save point. You also share a name with a horse. Oh, you're not a save point right now. Never mind. That's later. Okay, that might be what I'm thinking of then. Yeah, this dude's got a save point in the ship's cabin, right? But yeah, it's quite hard sometimes to find people who are, you know, kind of chill on stream sometimes. And I yell a lot on this channel, but God, there are some people who just scream so much. Like, sometimes you'll just fumble into a random channel and you'll think the performer is getting murdered. So yeah, that can be kind of rough. Anyway. Yeah, so now that we're done here, we can go over to Isle of Skye, and we have... what's this? 4 to get? Yeah, one of them is near the portal, so... it's fine. If I recall... Actually, I feel like I've been getting more experience here. I think in the... Oh, you are doing a motion that is a little bit, making me feel concerned, kind of. If I recall correctly, when I was playing this with Fire and Wind instead, I think I had basically just barely gotten to max fire at this point. I don't even remember at all, so if somebody wants to review the tape and be like, no, idiot, you were, well, I wouldn't really have much recourse there, because... yeah, I don't recall. Just like Scooter Libby. That's right, I've got very, very old references, and you might be thinking that might be the wrong person, and that may also be correct, but... anyone remember the 2000s? They fucking sucked. I mean, the present sucks too, but not necessarily as much. There's like nothing to get over there. The last one is just to go and go to the portal and get ready for the boss. Okay, yeah, so water just barely has the lead. Huh. Why'd it end up like that, I wonder? Well, clearly they needed more water enemies so that way fire can feel useful. Actually, it's fine. Now we got these goofy looking fellas. Okay, we're cutting it a little close here doing this, but I think we get the kill. Yeah. Yeah, so the numbers that were cited, I will put those forward to the viewership here. 16 earth, 19 water, 17 wind, 17 fire. And 1 earth and 1 water boss, and 2 wind and 2 fire bosses, which I do remember that part. I remember the breakdown of the bosses. Because Vegas is fire elemental for some reason. I guess any of them could really make sense, but... yeah, our mana is full. Okay. So... here we go. How many... anybody want to take bets on how many turns this is going to take? Because I'm going to guess 3. Well, maybe 4 if my accuracy is that shit. Okay, yeah, it's probably going to be more like 4. In fact, definitely far more than that, because our hit counts are not necessarily keeping up. Oh, and we died there. Yep. I shouldn't have called that shot. Save again and get our mana back. Just try again. No need for self-preservation here, because this fight is really just that easy. It's just kind of like, hey, get your good RNG eventually. I'm so used to casting healing level 1s that I'm just doing that by default. Oh yeah, you have a higher level version of that spell. Do I? Huh. Weird. Anyway, real quick. See something. Okay, Data Crystal is actually on TCRF. Wow. I thought it was still an RHDN thing, which you might be like, what are those abbreviations? Well, let me tell you, RHDN sucks. That's the important thing you need to know about, or at least the owner sucks. So that's the end of the story here. This is probably going to be more like 5 turns, even with good accuracy. Okay, fine. I will eat a bread. Using the proper JoJo's Bizarre Adventure grammar for some reason. And by proper, I mean... otherwise, it definitely wouldn't be, but hey. Yeah, 5 turns for that, because our damage is significantly lower than I was remembering. Like, I think when I was playing this with Fire and Wind, I was hitting 100 damage per hit at bare minimum. Which, yeah, we were not getting close to that, unfortunately. Anyway, we're back up to the surface. Let's get out of here. We got our water crystal. Let's go. And make sure we're nice and in there for all of those. Okay, the numbers that... Yeah, Irene accidentally counted the bosses in the first list. For regular enemies, that's 15 earth, 18 water, 16 wind, 18 fire. Which results in 16 total for earth, 19 total for water, 18 total for wind, and 20 total for fire. Which puts fire in the lead, shockingly. Assuming I did my math correctly, which there's no reason to assume that, because I don't always do the math correctly. You might say I'm not really a big fan of the Atari Jaguar, but that's a whole other bit. Speaking of bits, right? The Atari Jaguar. The ad campaign. Yeah, that was definitely a thing that did great for the Atari Jaguar. Yeah, we can grind our MP levels a little better using Soul Searcher, because it counts number of hits. So while spamming healing is just like, hey, here's a little bit of free real estate, compare that to something that'll actually get us much better farming. I guess if I encounter an enemy group that's like 5 or 6, I can just spend some turns doing that. Excuse me. Then wait for them all to line up, and then it's like, oh, by the way, hey, idiot, those are all caterpillars, so your hot steam isn't going to do shit for you anyway. You fool. What were you thinking of? What was your strategy here? Oh, these guys. They look so quaint now. Well, we'll do this some anyway. That's right, everybody. Numbers. And then we get in there and hot steam them and get them out by Friday. To play 1 through 63 to understand this one. No, don't worry. You can play quests 1 through 63 and you wouldn't get anything because this game barely has a plot. Okay, that's a little bit mean. Funnily enough, Quest 64, when it was released in Japan under the name L-Tel Monsters, had far more plot cutscenes in it. And by far more, I mean one more. This game is still quite spare on plot no matter what, but yeah, very simple in that regard. More than Mortal Kombat. God, you're right. Oh, Mortal Kombat Annihilation. That is, in the most technical sense, a film. I wouldn't recommend watching it. I would recommend watching the original Mortal Kombat film. That's quite fun. The plot's right there in the title. Quest. Yeah, I guess you're right. As long as it's not like a VR device. Because in that case, I'll barf all over the place. And for multiple reasons, too, because that is a thing from the company Meta, aka Mark Zuckerberg's bullshit. Anyway. That's enough of that. I apologize for reminding you all of Mark Zuckerberg. Well, I don't completely remember. I admit, I don't remember a whole lot about MK Annihilation, just that it was not good. I think, like, Jade got eaten by some incredibly bad-looking wall monster. And eaten is probably not even necessarily the correct word, but she died from being attacked by a monster in a wall. That was, like, some really, really mediocre CGI. Anyway. Let's ride the boat a couple of times. because there is a free spirit for us to pick up here. It's very hard to see. Huh? Am I misremembering horribly? Am I in the wrong? Okay, so I think I'm on the long trip. Oh, was it a... I just remember it being like a really, really crusty bit of CGI. That's all I can recall. But mostly just that one specifically. I can't 100% speak on everything else because it's been forever. There we go. Okay. I was like, surely I screwed this up somewhere. Anyway, we got walking water, so we have another water spell that's like decently ranged. Decently might be a stretch, but yeah, it's this location because this has the dirt here. There's a save point. Let me see if I can remember anything else about MK Annihilation. Rain was in it, I think? And I'm pretty sure he got killed by Shao Kahn. Because Shao Kahn was like a really, really bad boss. Especially in that period. Yeah. Yeah. I want to say Jax was in it as well. And I do not recall how good or not his mechanical metal appendages looked. But yeah, MK Annihilation, I believe, kind of brought in like everybody who was up to MK3 who hadn't been in previous movies. And by previous movies, I mean previous movie because, well, there was only the one movie previous. I don't know why I implied there were multiple, but for some reason I just kind of did. Still, I guess it's kind of interesting to see Rain in there, just period, because despite Rain having a very particular reputation for being, well, grossly busted in that era of Mortal Kombat, because he had, if I recall correctly, in pretty much every version of MK3, Rain tended to have some sort of really stupid infinite he could do very easily. Well, yes, but Kano existed in the first movie, so he gets a pass. He's allowed to not be there. But no Kintaro, so I was only almost correct at best, so that's about the sort of level that I operate on anyway, is only almost correct at best. Okay, and this... Would you guys ease off a little bit here? Kind of busy. Big, slightly goofy-looking turtles. Yeah, saying all playables, that That works. Anyway, that is the only spirit in this area up until we get to the big city. Limelin. Not to be confused with Limerick. My number's going... Well, I guess it's because I was using Fireball instead of Magma Bomb. Or Magma Ball. That might do it, but... I was going to say, are my numbers lower? Because I know that staff damage is based on how balanced your elements are on some level. The whole of how staff damage is calculated is a very odd algorithm. But I don't think that applies to elemental damage. It's just the staff. So I guess if I ever were to do that barbarian mode run, if I were to ever like go crazy enough to do that, it's basically just, hey, level your spells in like a rotary sequence. Whatever the actual term that I meant to say there, rotary sequence is probably not it. But I think the idea is, like, semi there. You're a rotary sequence. You're a towel! God, my voice cracked there. My body is telling me, hey, it's 2026. Don't do South Park references. They're not funny anymore. You know, I'm trying to think of, like, when was the point that I sort of realized that South Park was, like, a washed caprine animal that really shouldn't be called a goat in any way whatsoever. Oh, huh. That's interesting. I wonder if there's a way to automate that, otherwise I'll forget. But for some reason, earlier today, and good lord, I cannot understand exactly why I started thinking of this. The episode of South Park that came to my mind out of nowhere was the one that was their response to the Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull movie, where it was like Steven Spielberg doing I'm not gonna say the word to Indiana Jones like repeatedly, and that really is just like, holy shit, you guys became mercilessly unfunny. But anyway, the last one you watched new was Woodland Critter Christmas. I recall having seen the 200 episodes two-parter live, and obviously that's like basically the only way you possibly could see it nowadays. I assume it's probably somewhere out there on the internet, but yeah, that really is sort of like a case where, in retrospect, it's very much kicking at wasps' nests for fun, right? Anyway, yeah. It's 2026. I mean, what do you say about South Park anymore? Oh, wow, they took shots at Donald Trump. Meanwhile, you look over at the fucking libertarian nutbags who support that. And not for nothing, but most libertarians are a lot closer to being Trump guys than they are to, God, probably even to Sanders, but I digress. Which I'll say that's at least part of why I respect the fuck out of Penn Jillette. Is that, first of all, the guy did at least, like, vote for an actual libertarian candidate instead of for Donald Trump. And sure, yes, that's kind of a change of zero thing, but at least they didn't all follow along with the, you know, the horse-paced salesman, as I say. But also the fact that in more recent years, he's basically been like, holy shit, I was wrong. And I think part of that is that Penn Jillette is actually smart. Like, I watched plenty of bullshit, and there were quite a few times when he was wrong about certain things and was pushing his own agenda, but there's also at least a pretty large percentage where the guy was quite intelligent and knew a lot of stuff. You like this feature? Do you mean the part where I'm making fun of, or is there something in the game that I'm missing out on? Anyway, I don't remember if these two things have any real value here. Or do we just want to go into the throne room to pick something up? 2 flights. I think I'm in the wrong place. Oh. Oh, yeah, the blue sky feature. Wow, somehow that already passed through my tiny little brain. Penn Jillette is the Al's Toy Barn commercial announcer in the first Toy Story. I'll have to be on the lookout for that next time I watch the first Toy Story. Because I couldn't tell you that I knew that offhand. Actually, when's the last time I really thought about anything Toy Story related? Oh god, the last time I thought about anything Toy Story related was playing Kingdom Hearts 3. Well, I need to... Oh, my water bottle's empty. I was gonna say I need to wash my mouth out with something, but it'll have to wait. I don't watch a lot of movies, for anybody who's, like... I probably have had since, like, heard about yet another Toy Story sequel, because there are quite a... They've been continuing that series quite a lot, haven't they? Where Buzz Lightyear was used as a bong. Jeez, that's... Well, now that's just rude. That's a sentient being. Well... Okay, so I'm looking down my list here. We got 5 things to pick up along the way to the next... Oh, yeah, well, I guess it sort of... It's like, I guess it would depend a little bit on who did it, right? Well, there you go. If it was Andy, then, yeah, he doesn't know about that. Okay, can we hit multiple of these guys with one line? Yes, it's just not necessarily the most accurate thing in the world, but that's... Bro, are you expecting me to run into that? I assume that's actually why that particular enemy just did that, because... Yeah, I mean, on top of that, I absolutely would just run into that thing, but... That's neither here nor there. Okay, can we start cleaning up these Buck Bumble rejects already? That was almost a good game if the final boss didn't suck ass, but I digress. Oh! That's gonna hurt. Yeah, that hurt. 31 damage. Ooh. Could you actually... 3 in a row! Wow! Alright! I was genuinely concerned I was gonna die to RNG there. Which, at bare minimum, at least death is, like, not really any imposition. Like, okay, I have to walk back out of town. Whoopty shit. But it would still be really embarrassing to just die to pure bad luck. Although, I mean, that happens so much in RPGs anyway. What if they just reduced every single Pokemon move's accuracy by 5% for one game? I would hate that, actually. That's all I can say. I mean, yes, but the cost isn't really a huge issue here. I don't think it's more accurate. It's probably exactly the same. Anyway, yeah, pack of 6, and these guys are really, really incapable of doing real damage. So I'm gonna sit here and keep casting this, this move here. You ever play any other RPG where it's like, hey, yeah, spamming the scan move is of some value? I mean, I was about to say Chrono Cross and just using Infoscope to manipulate the field, but no. You could just do it in other ways, and besides, it's Chrono Cross, it's easy as shit. You could probably just win the fight with, like, anything if you're in a position where you're like, oh yeah, this sounds like a good idea. Nah, just end it, right? I feel like there was some Final Fantasy game, though, where it was like, it was advantageous to scan repeatedly for some reason. I can't for the life of me remember which one, so... I mean, what I'm saying here could be stupid, and in fact, clearly is, but... Okay, so it's 3 out here and 1 is at the mining hut, so let's keep that in mind. We got 1 of them so far, and oh, hey, look who it is again. Now, I'm probably just going to eliminate this guy the old-fashioned way here, but... Well, actually, when we were in Call Hazard, we saw how to dodge these guys real good. So, I don't have to explain that again. Basically, though, when the Wyvern's turn comes up, you want to make sure that you're out of melee range. And then you... it'll get almost up to you and will use Fireball level 2. Just run into it just to be absolutely sure, but most of the time it'll just whiz right over your head anyway. But if you run up to it while it's spitting fireballs and you were able to close the gap in time, you don't take any damage because all the shots miss you. Okay, so I think the other one is actually near the mining thing anyway, so we'll be fine to just go pick that up there and we won't have missed anything. Anyhow, we will be hitting max water very soon, so I'm going to be putting everything after that into Earth. We're not going to get Magic Barrier by the end of this, but... or if we do, I'll be effing shocked. Especially without grinding. I mean, if I ground some, it would probably be doable. Am I going Wind or Earth? I'm going Earth after that. Wind has technically got some utility spells. But compare that to Earth, which has... well, plus Avalanche would probably even do good damage even as we get it. But it gives access to Magic Barrier, which is just so completely sick nasty that it's like, hey, what do you expect me to do? Pass up on the theoretical opportunity of getting this? All right, everybody, it's time... it's time for the Goon Show. We are in Barragoon Tunnel. That's right, we're gooning. Don't say it that way. Don't call it gooning. You'll get in trouble. Well, you probably won't get in trouble, but you'll give people the wrong idea. And I won't, and I don't need the help with that. And of course, these dudes all spawn right behind me, because why not? Do I hit you both with Hot Steam? Yeah. Let me guess, the ghost is fire type? Just like Marowak. Oh, I guess I've been thinking about it because of this being a recomp project. I kind of do want to pull out the crystal decomp again and try to do some stuff with it with like a little rebalance hack. I hit a point where I was thinking about it, and then I saw somebody on the Pokemon ROM hacks Reddit who was like, oh, well, why aren't people making more original hacks? And that kind of got me a little bit, it's weird to get in my head over something that somebody says on fucking Reddit, especially because that is like, hey, do you want the social media website with the dumbest people on it? If you said yes, then go straight to Reddit. Anyway. But this person was like, oh, well, why aren't there more original hacks? And I had at least this weird moment of getting slightly in my head about the idea of like, oh, well, I did want to do this rebalance hack. But also, like, the reason why there aren't more original things in Pokemon ROM hacks is because it's fucking hard to do. There's a lot of work that goes into that. Plus, like, you know, especially with things of, like, design and making good maps. If you want people to just make more, like, original region stuff, you're going to get a lot of maps that are basically just unedited from the original games, except that they've put fences in place to make sure that you have to take the longest route possible. And then everybody will start getting all, you know, temperamental, and I will, of course, be the exact sort of person who's like, well, hey, You said you wanted things that weren't just rebalances. Guess what? In the immortal words of Jam Sheffield from Metallic, careful what you wish, you just might get it. Nobody's going to understand why I called him Jam Sheffield from Metallic, except for like one other person in here who sent me that image like a million years ago. Which means I may have to go link that in my Discord at some point. It was like an image of like one of those stupid scams kind of posts. And it was somebody getting a text from somebody who was pretending to be James Hetfield from Metallica, who is the lead singer and one of the guitarists. Hold on, I'll pull up the exact text and I can read this off to you, including the crusty spelling. This guy posts just a picture of James Hetfield, and underneath it says, "Hell, I'm Jam Sheffield from Metallic. My guitar, spelled Getar, broke. I need $2,000. And we've just always found this really funny, my friend Epionics, Tav, and I, because it was just so incredibly, like, dumb. I think it's probably also because we just spell things wrong at each other on purpose in such a way that, like, you'd understand, but it's the consequences of how much Homestar Runner did you consume when you were young, right? At least on some level, that has an effect anyway. Man, I love Homestar Runner. There actually was a new Homestar Runner semi-recently, like a Strong Bad Email, and that's bizarre to me. I don't remember if it was good. I'm pretty sure it was, because that's not exactly a group of dudes who miss very often. But also, it's kind of like, holy shit, Homestar Runner has existed for, what, over 20 years at this point? That's wild. In fact, over 25 years at this point, I'm sure. I'm pretty sure some of the Homestar Runner cartoons that I actually know decently well were posted in like 2000. So it's good to know that Coach Z has been fucking up my ability to speak properly for literally a quarter of a century. Good in a very abstract sort of way, but I digress. Anywho, this is the part of the game where we really start fighting a significant amount more fire element enemies. These sprites may be wind element, I forget. Well, they don't seem to be fire because they're taking more than 100 damage from hot steam, so. But the numbers are low enough that I'm also not convinced they're water, so I'm going to take a guess that they're wind. Anyway, enough of that. As we get just a single ant here for some reason. What is this? An encounter for ants? Do your inputs correctly, you fool. There we go. Good to see that my brain switched off immediately because I started pressing things in the wrong order at first. Well, here we go. Here's... finally a little bit of a breather here. Get ourselves a healing potion. And by a breather, I mean... well, there are no encounters on the bridge, right? So, We're safe here. I've certainly never gotten into a fight on the bridge. Yeah, there's no Gilgamesh involved here. Or the other Gilgamesh. Yeah, it's a pretty long bridge, huh? And here's another 2 ants. Let's do some of that, because why not? Yeah, I didn't think for even a minute that we could get a kill, but it would have been nice if we could, I guess. Would have been pretty impressive. How's our experience look? 85%. Wow. Is there a spirit in this, like, pit? Thought there was. Here, let's do this some because the screen darkening may help us. Do a little bit more of a scan. Apologies if I bonked the mic there. I'm pretty sure I did. Ooh, that was some good damage. Good AoE anyway. Hooray, we got a new Earth spell finally. We got Rock level 2. Man. Oh no, it's further up, pardon me. Spirit that I was thinking of. Well, whatever. I got into an extra fight for no good reason. It's still free resources, right? Wow, we actually hit 2 things with Firebomb. That's incredible. And it took both of them out. So, granted, it was 2 ants and they were placed in a row, so I don't know what I was expecting otherwise, right? What other kind of results were there going to be? Oh, we overshot that by a wide margin. Oops. I don't know what I was hoping for. Maybe I just saw the range being so bad one other time that I was like, yeah, just do that. That'll do it, surely. And then I was completely surprised to discover that it did not. And by completely surprised, I mean... not that. Definitely not that. Oops. Yeah, I was hoping I'd be able to hit at least one of... well, I did technically make contact with one of them anyway. It's just that I didn't do any damage. Yeah, judging by the range there, these fellas definitely have hot steam level 2. I know I didn't need to heal too there, but spending the extra mana. Because, yeah. Rewarded for spending, etc. I was slightly concerned that wouldn't even kill that thing. What if I just sort of stay back here and... Can we reach all three of them from there? Yeah. Alright, now just hang out for a sec, dude. Just... Oh, he's doing damaging spells. That's okay. Thankfully, they're not doing a ton of damage, as long as they don't hit me very much. And if they keep failing to status me, that's cool too. But these guys do have, like, really good speed, if I recall correctly, so... The main determinant for that damage thing is just like, hey, whether or not they make contact. Yeah, if one of them's getting close enough to shoot arrows, the other one will too. We're getting in here. And they should all be attempting to homing arrow me now. I'm surprised that the... Well, I guess it was the one in the back, wasn't it? The one on the left went first earlier in the fight. Hey, Retro. And I didn't notice because casting weakness didn't really have an animation there. So it's a little hard to tell sometimes with the enemies all looking the same. Right, launch that at there, and... Okay, yeah. Put ourselves right in the middle here just to make absolutely sure that we can do this. Yep. Our HP is running a little low here, but we're all right. And we got a Spirit Light. Nice. So we can use that for a full heal if we are in particularly dire straits. You know, in case we have to fight the Sultan's swing, I guess. We'll be set. Ah, darn. I might want to keep my distance then, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Probably. Yeah, and surely we can't just, like, walk up to these guys. Oh, well, I can hit that one with a staff, at least, so that's good. This guy, however... I don't have a whole lot of options here that don't involve the use of a mana recovery item, so we're gonna do that. Gonna use a quick mint leaves, and we're going to go back to turtling for a little bit so that way I can recover a little bit of HP here. Just to make sure that I'm in a safe place here. We're doing the safety dance. Because, yeah, I wasn't sure if that guy was one hit away or not. So I was like, yeah, I better fill up a little. Because if I need to do 2 hits, things might get a little bit dicier. What's the item in this room? Or the item, the spirit. I think it's this way. This isn't really a... Ow. This isn't a great fight to do, just period. I just don't want to do it, so I'm leaving. Did I already pick up the thing here? I may have forgotten by now. Just from getting sidetracked by all these fights that are in this dreadful-ass position here. Well, we got enough mana, we can deal with these guys. With pure range. And by pure range, I mean... I wouldn't say that, but hey. Oops. Oh, whatever, we get some EXP for it. God, my accuracy's... These guys have, like, 84 agility, though, I think it said. So, maybe that's to be expected. Because mine is probably not even... Oh, it did break 40. I was surprised by that. This way? Oh, that's perfectly fine, Irene. I understand. It happens. Okay, there's... Well, at least one there. Yeah, I wasn't sure if I had internalized the number that I saw. Although I did see the number, so... At least there's that. Sheesh. You know, I at least want to show this off. Damage is pretty alright. Can I even just, like, face away from these guys and it'll work? Yes. I mean, obviously it's not guaranteed accuracy or anything, but... It's Quest 64, and the RNG in this game is not very kind. Oh, hey, we got the freeze at the exact moment that we got the kill there. Yeah, we have Spirit Armor level 1 also, so... we have that going for us. That's good. No, don't do that. What kind of rage does this get? Not great. In fact, it looked like the hit area was smaller than our cast, than our particle effects there. And also, we've managed to whiff all 3 of the actual hits that we physically connected with in this entire fight. These guys suck! This is kind of why this part of the game was, like, the absolute worst when I was doing Fire Wind, by the way, is because... imagine I had to fight these chuckle fucks with nothing that exploited their weakness at all. Okay. So it looks like we haven't left anything on the floor here. We've just got to fight a woman in a complete mess of an outfit here. Actually, it's not nearly as bad as all that. It looks like horribly messy, like, wrappings in the N64 version. Here, it's, like, much more... clearly an actual dress. Oh, you're doing that from a range, huh? That's a very long range for you to be doing that. Because I think that's usually more like her melee spell. It also... well, first of all, it hurts like a fucking bastard, but also it purges your debuffs. So unfortunately, no vampires touch funny business for us, which is also, that's also the case with Nepti's round thing that she was using, which is why I didn't even think to try to do that for anybody who's like, oh, well, for anybody here who's just not familiar with this game for some reason, who's also, like, trying to give strategy advice. Listen, I've met people on the internet. They would do that. I'm using the healing items because I don't think our heal is going to outperform her death ray. And as usual, I'm sticking with the strategy of get in as close as possible to the boss to do optimal damage. And the hell with my survivability, it doesn't matter. As long as we get the job done. And in that case, we absolutely got the job done. Shilf is dead and she has nothing to give us. Then again, it's not like she's got anything that we can rifle through for loose change. Yeah, because the numbers on that were too low. Yeah, since she was dealing 40 damage a hit, so I wasn't able to heal that much. I mean, I'd stay in the fight, basically, but whatever. I would just annoy both of us. Anyway, we're here out. We're finally done gooning. We're back out in the middle of the desert. And That means that we get some nastier enemies here, which is just great. But also quite a lot of them are fire elementals, so we do at least have something that kind of works against them. Like, these guys, I think, are not, actually. Well, maybe we'll find out in a second. Oh, the turn order decided to not be good for us, huh? Yeah, they're water type, which is... I guess makes sense with the fact that they're blue, but that just sounds racist. Also, they have a massive amount of frames of animation when they get hit. Like, they take forever to... Yep. Yeah, that's Quest 64 for you. Classic bit of Quest 64 RNG. Hey, we gained a point of max HP between the two saves, though, so that's cool. Anyway. There's a way to dodge that, by the way. And I'm going to have to try to, like, reacclimate to that because I do actually know how to do it. You have to run diagonally. On the other hand, we can also just get into melee range and let this goofus, like, prove what an absolute failure he is by doing significantly less damage to us than that magnet rock would do. Oh, good. I was worried there. Ah, damn. So, to explain, when I was playing the rando, I was able to dodge Magnet Rock from the Sandmen. I almost said Sandmans for some reason. Yes, it's a very funny bit to say mans instead of men, and it does always make me think of the first Mega Man game where... Or was it the third? Yeah, it was the third one where the official name for that one boss where it's the fake Mega Man is called... It's called something like Clone Mega Mans or something. That's the official name, I swear. You can look it up in the Legacy Collection. But, yeah, no. I forgot what I was saying. Good. Words kind of got away from me because I got distracted by thinking about Mega Man again. Anyway, yeah, I was able to dodge the Sandman's Magnet Rock move by running diagonally. And I don't know if that is something that the recomp has, like, ended up tweaking, or if my agility is just too low or something, which is very likely to be the case. But hey. Oh, yeah, shit, Well, that was weird. We did actually pull it off, and then we appeared to run back into a damage zone. And not take damage because of pure luck. Yeah, I mean, it's possibly also that, but... Anyway, there's a spirit out this way, I believe. Like, off in this little corner before we go out into the desert and go look for the one that's... deep in the heart of fuck nowhere. Oh, yeah, Nightmare. They will just try to silence us from a distance, so... we can just do this, and we can miss. They won't even try to move in when we're this far away. Never mind, they will. I think they are fire elements, so water is definitely the way to go. Yeah, plus the base damage on Ice Knife is so bad, so that would just be like, yeah, no kidding. Okay, I should probably wait to look for this until some other time. Yeah, I'll just take that damage, that's fine. Oh, there it is. Wow. All right, then. Yeah, 13 is when we'll get rock level 3 or something. No, we get something else. We get the one for left, right. Weakness level 1. Right, okay. I couldn't remember that that's what it was. Because I haven't run Earth in a very long time, period. Can we hit... Well, we can hit 2 of them with that. That's pretty cool. Ow, we'd like to take fewer of those. Okay, yeah, get into melee range. Look at those big, monstrously stupid steps that they do, too. Hey, we got a honey bread. That's nice. We'll gladly accept those. Ow. Okay, so... out here in the middle of the desert, there is a spirit that I very rarely get. Mostly because I'm not often equipped with a good spell to help me find it, and that does put a bit of a damper on things. This time, though, we have a healing spell. We have 2 of them, in fact. Ah, god dang it. Yeah, just do this. If we get out of this fight, this is going to be quite painful, but... oh, jeez. Yeah, we are out of mana. So it's going to be even more painful than that. Wow, that animation took so long that the guy was only almost dead before I... the guy almost didn't die before I did. There we go. Well, we gained one more max HP, so that's nice. What's our defense looking like? 42. And clearly we need to get the shit kicked out of us some more. And the game agrees because it's silencing me instantly. Well, I guess the game doesn't agree enough because I'm not sticking around for that shit. Are you kidding me? Also, on some level, I kind of like that the rock monster here is the fastest out of the group. Oh, I was really hoping that we could have gotten all of them with that, but yeah, I was definitely dreaming a little big. Okay, you know what? You keep doing that. I will sit here and heal. Here's where we'll get some of that defense experience. Hey, look, cat girls. They are going to take at least 2 hits each time. That firebomb is something that I could theoretically dodge if I had more agility, I think. But as it stands, not so likely. Damn it! The classic. Just getting completely screwed by bad luck. But also, I'm trying to take every fight because I need the stats, and the mana couldn't hurt either. Nor could the element experience. Again, if we can get to 36 Earth, which is highly unlikely, then this just becomes a normal playthrough. Well, mostly normal anyway. Vampire's Touch. Let's make this one a little bit more personal here. Nah, always with this. That's just how it goes at this point. Just, yep. Again, getting the standard Quest 64 bad luck at a time like this, right? A terrible place to have a curse. Yeah, see, it's at least slightly more damage than Ice Knife would have done, so... Credit where it's due. Ice Wall doing pretty good work at that range. Although Water Pillar is definitely going to hit better. I think this one has already been dealt some damage. And of course we fucking miss, because obviously we do. Well, hey, at least you missed one of your shots. Hey, man, nice shot. Or something. This is what the reference. And I got silenced. Nice. We have enough HP. We should be able to at least have a chance at doing this. Or... those numbers fooled me. I also have no idea how much damage I did or did not do to that thing. Let me tell you, the fire element enemies just suck on a special level. My defense is 43. Which isn't very high, but... at least part of it is also just that I'm, like, severely unlucky. I can probably just make this work. And you know what? Let's just sit here and heal in front of this guy. Now that we're in melee range. I mean, it's not a fast accumulation, but that's okay. Yeah, good miss there. I was totally expecting to miss right afterwards. Because of course I would. Anyway. Back to it. At bare minimum, at least, we seem to be locked into nighttime. Or I've just been dying enough that it keeps switching back very easily. Yes, come closer. Good. This is actually what I need. To be totally honest with you. Well, I don't think that missing those is what I need, but being attacked only with melee here is definitely the thing, because that does significantly less damage. To, honestly, kind of a wild extent, actually. Just need encounters that suck less. And where in the... okay, it's pretty far into the map, right? Yeah, for example, these aren't really a great thing for me to be trying to fight, because... let's do my inputs in the correct order here. Yeah, I mean, other than the fact that I just completely whiffed that, that's just me playing badly. But... once again, this is a fight that kind of hurts, and... the firebomb dodge is actually going quite well here. I'm pulling that off shockingly well. Well, I didn't say anything. Didn't say it was consistent. Leave the pyramid exit itself. You'll see it a bit to the northwest. Okay. I could give that a shot, because I could just go stand in the Shamwood entrance and then turn around and be like, hey. Where you at? But for now, just go deeper, I guess. We'll just do things that way, and this guy will walk in, and we get in the middle. I was gonna say, please don't decide to do magnet rock at melee range, because that would be very annoying. I mean, we'd be able to live it, but it would just be like a strange and frustrating choice on behalf of the game. Where are we compared to? We're not middle, per se. Still a little further over. Ah, dang it. Oh well, at least this guy is coming up in a melee range this time. Unlike before when he was content to actually use the move that would have been a better strategy for him, but I digress. Okay, I see the bobber for the Shamwood entrance over there. Okay, I thought for a second that I saw it, but I think it might be further over. I don't want to be here. See, I've lost my direction a little bit here. Go to this and northwest, huh? The compass. Could you guys, like, fuck off for a moment here? That'd be nice. Excuse me. Oh, there it is. I see it. Get out of my fucking way, everything. Unfortunately, I started rotating as I was... Okay, no, I locked onto it again. Are there? There's 4. Back to the pyramid. Just saw the bobber. Where? There it is. It's literally right in front of me. Wow. Anyway, we actually got the spirit in the desert. Hell yeah. It's time to go to Shamwood and start raiding the place for all of its money and things that aren't money. In fact, probably mostly things that aren't money, because this game doesn't really have a money system per se. And by per se, I mean, isn't there like actually space in the code for something like that? And it wasn't finished? Or am I crazy? I might be thinking of some other game. In fact, I almost definitely am. Oh, it was something about, wasn't there like an unfinished currency system somewhere in the code for Quest 64? Or was that for one of the other games in this? And by one of the other games in the series, I mean the Game Boy Color RPG. Oh, okay. Okay, so I remembered correctly. Huh. That's interesting. I think it'd be interesting to see, like, everything that they were apparently intending to do with this game. Just see it, like, completely finished. Maybe with some, like, rebalancing to some of, well... Yeah, I know. I know what it sounds like I'm saying, but... legitimately, at bare minimum, the basic systems here are a pretty good idea. Even if you can say whatever about any of the other stuff. So I believe we get Magnet Rock now. Yeah, we do. As we don't get that Rolling Rock level 2 until level, like, 40 Earth for some reason. Which I think is just funny. Remember to pick up all the items. Hey, that time I was aiming at the chest, Brian, for sure. Judging by that little indicator anyway. There's nothing over here, right? There's just the one on that side. Here's this guy. Well, if Sephiroth built as a wizard, right? And that should get us... Yeah, we got Avalanche, so... We have another damage option, finally. I don't know how good it's going to be at this level, but we do have 50 in both the adjacent elements, so it should be a little bit stronger. You don't teleport me out, do you? I thought you did for some reason. Anyway, time to just go walk out. Yes, I got the one that was for going into the side path there. Yeah, I've gotten everything here. So we're good. We got the one in the middle of the desert. And now it's time for us to get back to the tent, because this is where I'm gonna, after I get into a couple more fights probably, this will be the save point for the evening. Or it could take eons for a fight to actually start. Why not? Oh, see, that time we just walked straight into those and it worked out. All right, then. But we're far enough away this time that we're actually pressing a spell that's not Hot Steam level 2. I don't think I was close enough that I was getting the triple hit, but thankfully I was in good enough shape to kill it anyway. Okay. How far away from the... Oh, we got quite a ways to walk. I shouldn't even look at that. It'd be better to just not think about it. You know what? I should probably just try to escape. Yeah, I gotta remember that I have that. In case I get into a fight that's just too garbage for me. Here, this will be a place to test out some Avalanche. Maybe I'll get some hits. Not many, but I mean, 90 a hit is pretty good when you're dropping that many rocks and everything has less than 300 HP. So this could be a mainstay for at least a minute here. Especially as we enter into a much more fire-oriented zone. I can deal with that thing this way. This thing that way. I'd have to be horribly unlucky here to die. What am I doing? Just cast escape. And whiff at least once. These guys, however, are not an ideal choice to use Avalanche on for obvious reasons. You're still hanging on, are you? Shit. Nice, we flattened that thing instantly. Heck yeah. Avalanche still kind of... God, it's so cheesy because of the terrible balance in this game, but man. Avalanche remaining goated. In fact, hell with it. I might even be able to take this fight. The werecats usually kind of suck to fight, but if we're doing this much damage... I mean, it's still a little bit dicey looking, but we're getting somewhere. Yeah. All right. Well, now that the nightmare is over and this is turning into just a regular playthrough of Quest 64 just on this new version of the game, I think that's a great place to pack it up, pack it in for the evening, everybody. Thank you all for watching, and I'm terribly sorry about the chat disappearing from the VOD.